All right, back for another great show. NAL Live. This is episode number 10. So we're kind of making our ways around. Got another great one. He, got a little taste of him a few weeks back at the league, but now we have him for the whole show. So we've got president of the Ontario Bandits, Patrick Johnson. How's it going, Pat?
Good. How about yourself?
Doing good, man. I appreciate you joining me. I know you're busy out there, but these shows have been great for fans to be able to kind of engage with people from around the league, and then just to get to know you. You got a cool background too, so I think it's going to be fun, kind of hearing about your journey and whatnot. So we've got fans out there. If you're out there, feel free to comment. It's always cool. I always like people to post where you're from, where you're listening or watching from, so we get an idea of where people are at throughout the world that are tuning in, and any feedback. What do we need to do better, or what do you like? But post your questions. We'll get Pat to get to some of those throughout the show. But let's kind of get started, Pat, with your journey. Where are you from, and what got you into football?
Yeah, I'm from Gainesville, Georgia, which is a small town. Well, I wouldn't say it's a small town. It's a suburb of Atlanta, but it's about 40 minutes northeast of downtown. Deshaun Watson is probably the most notable person that
Okay.
this day and time that comes from that area. We actually went to the same high school. Um, But around my sophomore year, I wound up transferring out to Southern California, Redlands, California, to finish high school, and that's where I initially got into participating in prep sports. I didn't necessarily grow up being a bad kid, but I think I just the opportunity was not in my face as much as it was, once I got to Southern California. But once I got out there, go
Where
ahead.
is that? Like, what part of, like, what's that? Is that close to like LA or?
Yeah,
Okay.
Redlands is about 40 minutes, 30, well, about 40 minutes east of Los Angeles.
So how close to Ontario is that then, where you're going to be playing?
Maybe 20 minutes.
Okay, so it's right there. Gotcha.
Yeah, it's right there. This is what makes the whole thing very special.
Yeah.
In that, I'm actually able to come back to a place where, my athletic career, began. I have tons of friends, from high school that obviously are still in the area. Tons of friends that I went to college with that are from the area. So it just feels really good to be able to come back and bring, arena football to the Inland Empire, because this is where it all began for me.
Yeah, it's cool. We got Rich out there in the LA area. I know he's out there somewhere,
That's
909.
right.
I'm taking it that's the area code.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Just
So when you were in high school, were you, just dominating, or like at what point did you realize, man, I might be able to, go to college, for football?
it's just weird. I only played 1 year of high school football before
Really?
getting a scholarship. Yeah, I came out to Redlands, around my sophomore year, and had to sit out the entire junior year because of transfer restrictions. So even though I was on the team, I was not eligible to participate in any games. So what I did that year was I practiced every day as if I was going to play, but knowing I was not going to get to play. And I wound up doing that, for my junior season, and then started running track that year in 1993 as a junior, and wound up finishing fourth in the state meet, the final in the 200 meters, which isn't bad, considering how difficult something like that is, particularly here in Southern California. But was able to accomplish that task as a junior, and then my senior year, getting switched from defensive back to running back, well, quarterback first and then the running back. I really didn't, I had no idea that I was even going to get a scholarship. I just didn't.
Really?
It was never a thought. It's something that you want to see happen, but
Right.
it just was not something that was remote. But once I ran pretty well in track and field as a junior, I had some people looking at me for track and field. And then, over the course of the senior campaign, the football season, I was able to, be the starting running back for a large high school. The Inland Empire, they had, back then, it was, there were football powerhouses. Matter of fact, in 1994, my senior year, a rival team in our league won the national championship, and they sent 7 players to Division One.
Wow.
So this was, I was put into a really good situation where I had top-notch competition. And obviously I think the way Oregon found me was going to go see somebody else. They're just out recruiting and then just
Hey,
started.
sometimes that's what happens. That's why you always got to be ready.
Yeah. So, fortunately, was able to, have a competitive and perform well enough to merit some schools to give me an opportunity. And then, University of Oregon at that time, was the best option for me, I think, in that I was going to get to play wide receiver. Most colleges wanted me to play defensive back. And because at that time I was, all into track, I didn't want to beat my body up. That's kind of what I
Right.
thought. So I go to University of Oregon, and kind of the rest is history after that. And then once I got there, playing one year, I was playing a new position. Um, didn't really have a lot of expectations as to kind of what that was going to look like. I was told by my position coach that we're bringing in two freshman wide receivers, but the guy that we're bringing in is better than you are. And the coach
Oh,
said,
thank you.
yeah, but the coach said, you know why he's better than you are, and I said, yeah. He said, why? I said, because I've never played. And he said, that's exactly right. He said that this kid has been playing wide receiver his whole life, and you only played 1 year of high school football, but you're the reigning national champion at 200 meters in high school. So we go back to my senior year in track and field. I was, one of the top 2 sprinters in America.
Wow.
And yeah, I was fortunate to be the California state champion in the top 2 sprints out here. And at that point, I really didn't even have to go to college. I could have turned pro in track and field at that time, but my parents and my family, told me that you've already made the commitment to go to school, so just continue on and go. And I had opportunities to transfer. At that point, I could have just about anywhere in America to go to college because of how well I performed in track and field. Now, keep in mind, I had already signed a letter of intent to go play football at Oregon, so I would have had to renege on that. But the opportunity to do that was there, but it just I wasn't raised like that, so I
So
wound up
was
not.
it always like I'm playing, I'm going to participate in both, track and football?
No, ironically, when I went to University of Oregon on my recruiting trip, um, I wanted to go and talk to the track coach. But during that time I hadn't had that senior campaign, in which I ran substantially faster than what I ran as a junior. So when I went on my recruiting trip, they were kind of lukewarm
Yeah,
to
maybe.
the idea. Right. They were like, we have some guys that are running, the times that you're running now, and we'll see kind of what that looks like when you get there. Now fast forward, when I show up for football, I'm one of the top sprinters in the country, and I'm on a football scholarship to the U of O. And now they're asking me, "Hey, are you going to run track?" So, yeah, that was initially not really in the cards.
So how difficult was that then to participate in both plus school?
Well, it was hard. It was hard.
Like you still had to go to class. They didn't just give you like A's to get through?
No, I was a journalism and communications major, so and that's one of the top schools at the University of Oregon, and probably one of the top in the United States. So it was very, 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 very difficult major to have. But, they didn't. I had to earn every grade I got, and even though they might have been C's, I still earned them.
Hey,
you know, you
you
know.
passed.
But yeah, it was definitely very difficult in that you had to, as a student athlete, you had to put in 8 hours of study hall a week, and you have to log them in. And so, like, let's just take it during football season. You have to go. Let's just say you get out of practice at 6. You might have to eat dinner and then go to study hall, and you might only have an hour and a half that you have to go sit in there, and it's just hard to do. And then you
Rough,
you have
yeah.
you have two sports. It's just tough, and
Because playing a D1 sport it's like a full-time job as it is.
yeah, it
And
is.
then you add school on, which is supposed to be full-time.
Yeah, yeah.
It's tough.
Definitely would have gotten better grades had I, not had that kind of, workload athletically. It just takes up a lot of your time. It takes up a lot of your time.
So did you participate in both all for 4 years?
No, actually, freshman year was my best year on the track. I finished. I was the only American world ranked in 3 events in 1995. I was the youngest competitor at the USA Track and Field Championships, I think, next to Amy Acuff, who was a high jumper at the time from UCLA. But we were the youngest, like at 19 years old or 20 years old or something like that. But yeah, it was tough, definitely tough that year. But with that being said, had a really good freshman campaign. Finished last in the 100-meter final at the NC2A championships. I was ninth, but I was the only freshman in the race, and I should have been running the 400, but we were trying to get points, so I had to double in the 100 and 200. The 100 was my weakest event. I mean, I was decent enough to make the final, obviously, but clearly, I think, had I run the 400 that year, I may have, placed in the top 3, if not won the 400-meter final. 96 was the Olympic year. Initially, I was preseason All-American. I was picked to win the 400 meters at the NC2A championships. The NC2A championships that year were at Oregon. So it was really set up for me to just, for it to be a really special year that year. But unfortunately, I wanted to redshirt from football that year. I wound up not doing that, and then having to double up on workouts during track season. And just my body wasn't mature enough to handle that kind of stress, and I was injured all season. And after 96, it was such a letdown for me not being able to make that Olympic team. I just decided to, at that time, just continue to focus on football, and it paid dividends, a couple of years later.
How close were you to, the Olympic team? Like, was it the injuries? Was it just you?
Well, I made the junior national team out of as a senior in high school, which is, I represented the United States, but we ran. It's the juniors are. You're able to be a freshman in college or younger. But the juniors it's just like the ones that are in line to be on the team next.
Yeah.
But definitely had all the qualifying times. Was very, very, very comfortable in my position. I would have at least, I would have made it, but it just wasn't in the cards for me. But I'm glad I chose the path that I did, though.
Yeah. So how did you end up finishing in your college football career? What kind of I know you had some awards and
Yeah. I mean, I think I had, the same kind of awards, some, most guys have if they're, maybe the top player at their position on their team, which was awesome. I I wasn't. I did get some All American consideration. I was All Conference as a kick returner and as a wide receiver. I was All American as a kick returner, not as a wide receiver. I didn't really. I think my senior season, the most catches I had was around close to 55 or 60 catches. Which is not a lot. In comparison to what some of these wide receivers are producing
Some of
now.
those teams are slinging that ball every play.
Yeah. Well, now that they're running a lot of up tempo stuff, teams aren't huddling. They're running more plays on
Yeah.
average per game than we were running back then. I mean, 50 plays a game, 55 plays a game, and that's something that was a lot back then. But now you're getting to
You're passing 50 times.
well, there's no huddling.
Yeah.
There's no huddling. So
at what point did you realize, like, man, football might be a potential career for me?
Well, I think I believe it or not, I didn't it was in the back of my mind. Obviously because I was so fast, I was going to get an opportunity to play, but I didn't really realize I was gonna go to the NFL until I got drafted. I didn't, I mean, I would put it to you this way. I was invited to the combine. I was invited to the blue gray all-star game. I was not invited to the Senior Bowl. I was not invited to the Hula Bowl. Like I said, a fast guy is always going to get a chance. I was a good returner, so I was going to get an opportunity. But getting an opportunity and getting drafted, I mean, those are two horses of a completely different color. And back then, if you weren't drafted in the top 4 rounds, the likelihood of you making the roster was going to be not as great.
Right.
It's not like it is now where you have the majority, you got 60% of these rosters that are players that weren't even drafted. I mean, it was not like that back then.
Yeah.
So I really came on really strong late in the season. I did give my best effort. The outcomes in some of these games were great. I think our last home game against Oregon State, I scored 4 touchdowns. And then I was the MVP of the Las Vegas Bowl, which was our bowl game, and I scored twice then. So I couldn't have finished the season any better than I finished it. So that I mean, I finished well. So obviously it was something that was not long forgotten by the scouts and things of that nature. So it kind of all fell into place for me right at the end. I wasn't somebody that was highly touted or on anybody's radar at the beginning of the season.
Did you end up going to the combine then and participating in any of the? Okay.
Yes, I was invited to the combine and I ran very well. But I think what really got me up into the zone was the fact that I was able to show how good of a route runner I was, how good of a pass receiver I was, because there's a stigma about guys that are fast is that they really can't play. I was a guy that could play and play fast, so it all worked out. It all worked out.
So what kind of 40s are you running back then?
Now?
But yeah, I want to know now, but I want to know back then too.
No,
because I'm sure it's still fast. I mean, come on.
Well, yeah, I'm fast to the refrigerator. No, I was a sub 4.3 40 person, consistently, and which is rare to have that kind of speed and be a good football player. There's a lot of guys out there that are that fast, but you put pads on them,
right?
You bang on them, and it's just, to play football you have to have a different kind of mentality or mindset, because you can't be afraid of contact.
Were you getting mostly looked at because of the returning, or like when Baltimore selected you, was it to come in and be the return guy for them, or was it kind of the whole package?
Well, it was to come in and play wide receiver.
Okay.
We had another receiver named Jermaine Lewis who was better than I was at kick return. I mean, that's one of the good things about the NFL. It's so humbling where it's very humbling. Like it's humbling on a daily basis because you're around people that are just so much more gifted than you are in certain areas. And it could be that they're just physically gifted. They can have longer arms than you. They can be faster than you. They can be shorter and have a be a better punt returner than you. You know, I mean, it's so humbling. But hell, I mean, after I saw Jermaine, I was okay with not really doing it. I knew he was better. You
Right.
know, I mean, and I try my best to be as good as he was. You know, but a backup return guy isn't bad.
Yeah, I grew up not too far from there. My wife's from Baltimore, so
Oh, nice.
yeah, so she grew up. So we've been to Baltimore a lot, man. I can tell you this, man. I have driven at least an hour or two out of my way to get some pit beef in
Oh man, I missed it.
man, I
I
could
mi-
get
I
some
mi-
pit
I
beef.
mi- I mi- I mi- I miss Baltimore. I really do. You know, you don't unless you've lived in the area. It's kind of hard to explain it to people who haven't been around in that area. I mean, the Eastern Seaboard is great as
Yeah.
far as I'm concerned. It's a
So
great place to live.
you were drafted pretty early from,
Hmm.
Baltimore, second round, right?
Hmm.
And then, how, kind of walk us through your, career and kind of some of the ups and downs there.
Well, you know, I was drafted, 42nd overall, and the head coach was Ted Marchibroda. And Ted was an older man, and he coached for a long time for the Cleveland Browns and then the Indianapolis Colts. And then they moved the Colts. No, they moved the Browns
Right.
to Baltimore. Ted was the coach. We had a veteran team. It was just crazy back then. I mean, we had guys smoking cigarettes in the parking lot.
No way.
I mean, oh, it was old school. It was
Oh,
old school, and I mean, it was most of the cast and characters were guys that came from Cleveland.
right.
Michael Jackson, may he rest in peace. He passed away a couple years ago. Um, let's see who else. Matt Stover. Quarterback coach was Don Strock. Oh God, it was great. So I get there. We go 6-10. I think we lost 4 or 5 games that were really close. Um, we had Jim Harbaugh, who's now the head coach at Michigan. He was our starting quarterback. Um, he had a bad elbow, and so we just struggled the whole season. Um, we struggled the whole season, and the year before, the Ravens were third in the league in passing with Vinny Testaverde as the quarterback. And then he left, and Harbaugh came in there, and they wound up getting fired at the end of the season. So I mean, I witnessed dysfunctionality as a rookie, and then saw our head coach get fired. So going into my second season, and I think I might have had 10 or 12 catches that year or something like that. I don't remember. But they hired Brian Billick. Now, Brian Billick, ironically, graduated from the same high school I did out in California. He went to Redlands High
Really?
also. Yeah, 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 he did.
Cool.
And he had just come from Minnesota. He was the offensive coordinator at the Minnesota Vikings, and he had just broke the scoring record. And he had Randy Moss as a rookie. So when he got in, you know, uh, uh, I thought, I kind of thought that the cards were, aligned for me because, outside of Randy Moss, there was maybe one other guy that could run as fast as I could, and then the other guy was him. Except the only difference between him and I is that he was 6'5" and I was 5'10", which means a lot. It can make the difference.
A little different.
Yeah, but our approach in Baltimore, because we had such a historically fantastic defense, um, you know, we just didn't throw the ball a whole lot. We just didn't throw the ball a whole lot. So I had to learn how to. Well, I actually learned how to block in college. Back to college, Chris Peterson, who was our wide receivers coach, who just stepped down as the Washington Huskies head coach a year ago. The only way he would put us on the field and during jump time is if we blocked. He didn't put us on the field to go catch passes when we were young. He put us out there to go block first. But I'm glad that he did that because it 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 put me in a position to be able to handle my role as best as I could. I know I fought my role at times because I'm a wide receiver and we want to make catches, but I was able to become a very, very, very good run blocker. I think I might have been one of the best run blocking wide receivers in the National Football League outside of Haines Ward. I would say he would probably be the only guy that was better at blocking than I was. And it showed in the fact that we had one of the top leading rushers in the NFL the year we won the Super Bowl. And we had a 1,400 yard rusher in 1999 with Priest Holmes. So, think about that. Priest Holmes, the Super Bowl year, he sat on the bench behind Jamal Lewis and then went to Kansas City a year later. And then you already know what happens. I mean, he's the lead, he's a franchise leading rusher in Kansas City right now, and he only went there for what 4 or 5 years or something ridiculous like that. But so with that being said, throwing the ball a lot we didn't have to. We didn't have to because our
I
defense.
Just remember that team as total defense. That team.
We only gave up 179 points that year. And we pitched, and think about this. I think we might have pitched like 4 shutouts.
Wow.
You think about that. We might have pitched 4. We went 5 games without scoring an offensive touchdown that year. So our defense was so good that they would just tell us, look, just get us 9 points. Just get us 9 points.
Yeah.
And Stover was so good that once you got to the 30, that guy was money. He wasn't missing.
Was that Ray Lewis's rookie year?
No, Ray's rookie year was 96. He was 2 years.
Man, he was in that early. Okay.
Yeah, he's 2 years older.
Okay.
Ray was actually one of the first. Him and Jonathan Ogden were the first 2 first-round picks for the Ravens.
Coach Rez says hi. Welcome to the NAL. He's over at the Cobras. So.
Oh, nice. Hey, Josh, I see you. Just hit me up.
He needs some group tickets for all his friends when he comes out there.
Absolutely. No, it's so exciting to be able to be here and be able to do this because I got a home here. I'm already at home. I'm not far from the arena, and just everything is in place, to do well here. I'm so excited. Yeah,
you got such a great facility too. Just from my days in indoor soccer, I think there still is a indoor soccer team there, G League team. But man, it's beautiful. My uncle lives in Rancho Cucamonga right there. So it's you can almost walk to the arena. But I think it's a good spot. I think you're going to do real well out there.
Yeah, I think that for me, I've always, like I said before, I've always wanted to get into a position where I could be able to be able to give it back in some way. And now I'm able to do that. If I can just get one player from our team a shot and they can go make an NFL roster, then I will feel that, my job is complete. I got to get one kid an opportunity who did not otherwise have that opportunity to be able to do that. And we can do that here because, the dynamics are such that there's nowhere for guys to play now. And there's a ton of great talent sitting out there on the streets. And the NFL right now, there's talk that they might not even have an off-season program this year. So they're going to be guys just sitting at home. Yeah. And so if you were sitting at home last year and you're waiting on a phone call, that phone call, it ain't coming.
Right. You got to get out.
And so we're just fortunate to be in the position that we are. We're excited about being able to deliver an affordable product, to the fans and stuff, and that's good considering the fact that we're coming out of COVID and there are people that have been economically adversely impacted by that.
Yeah.
But we'll have a ticket price that's very, very, very reasonable. I think our low cheapest ticket is like $12.
The movies are 12, $15 now. I mean, you're the price of a movie.
Yeah, and so just real excited to be able to provide that. But we're excited about the players that we've signed so far.
When are we going to get to see them? Are they announced yet, or any of those guys?
Yeah. They're all over our Twitter. We're in the process of getting ready to start, our ticket sales, and then we'll launch the new website. We're just waiting to get all that, rectified. And so we just confirmed our pricing with the arena, our ticket pricing with the arena today. And we're just kind of waiting just to iron some things out with that. And yeah, but they're if you go to @Ontario Bandits, every time we sign a player, we put them out there on our Twitter. Okay. So the guys that we've signed so far, I think with the exception of maybe 3, we have 3 more guys that we're going to be, putting an announcement out on our Twitter here in the next, couple of days and whatnot. But yeah, definitely excited about the guys we have. I think that I was telling one of my buddies that works in the front office for an NFL team, I said, you're going to have to come look at these kids. You're going to have to come. He said, yeah. I said, one of the things he said, if kids are smart, they'll look really hard at playing there because we got to get guys that are in shape that have film.
Yeah.
And if you're just working out every day, putting your workouts on Facebook,
that ain't gonna cut it.
We're not gonna see that.
No.
So the kids that we bring in, they're gonna get the looks that they want. Now it's really up to them with their performance, and then I'm gonna be advocating for each and every player to get an opportunity to go on to the next level.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what it's all about. Help out where you can, and I mean, sometimes guys just need that shot. They need to get out there for whatever reason. They're not on the radar now. This is a great opportunity to get on that radar.
Yeah, I used to. So Jermaine Lewis used to always say, "Jordan ain't Jordan if he can't shoot." And if you don't get an opportunity to shoot the ball, or if you don't get an opportunity to throw the ball, if you're not getting an opportunity to catch the ball, if you're not getting an opportunity to defend the ball, and you're not getting an opportunity to be able to get that on film, where somebody who's making a decision to look at you, then there it is, But definitely excited about what lies ahead for us.
I want to come back to that, but I want to go back to kind of your career a little bit. While you were playing, did you have kind of business on your mind at all, or was it all football? Were you starting to do stuff in the community and looking at business opportunities?
Yeah, I mean, from the very beginning, I was, fortunate. I had family members that, were involved in various businesses, and so I was always taught to, prepare for the inevitability. I always had that fear anyway because everything was so new and it was just happening. So I always prepared for that. So, during my season, during the season, I would always, do stuff within communities and things of that nature. And in off season, I tried to start various businesses that failed, but I'm glad I failed at them because I had to in order to learn how to move on and move forward. I had to.
I mean, unfortunately, and you talk to a lot of, successful entrepreneurs. I mean, I really haven't had one that I've met that hasn't had that. You
have to.
Yeah, I mean, it's just normal.
It's a necessity. You have to fail in order to.
Sucks, but it's at the time. But
yeah, I mean, I'm glad all the things that have gone on. With me in my past, I'm so glad that I was fortunate to have gone through that because it makes you the person who you are now. So and because I learned how to run a business, it I wouldn't be able to take advantage of this opportunity had not gone through all those things.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't be equipped to be able to do it. I mean, running a sports franchise, there's a lot of moving parts. There's a whole lot of moving parts. And,
It's like you find that out quickly, don't you? When you get into it, you're like, oh, this is, you've been around other businesses, but man, there's a lot to it.
yeah, but it's fun though.
It is. That's what I love about it. It's not, I don't consider it work.
No, this
It's
is
just,
this is not work. This is fun. So I'm just so excited to be able to get into this arena, and to be able to still do business because I love business. I love business.
yep.
It's either you build somebody else's dream or you build your own, and I rather build my own. And then teach some others on how to build their own. And so just really fortunate, really humbled, and really fortunate.
When you got out of, playing, kind of what, when was your last year playing, like 08, 09?
Yeah, so
Uh,
I went to so in 2006, I was a free agent. I was waiting on a phone call, and I started studying to take my Series 7, which is a stockbroker's exam.
yeah.
And I studied for it, and I never took the test because the firm that I was going to go work at, they didn't necessarily want me to go get it. They wanted me to be more out front, talking
Right.
with clients and doing that instead of being a bean counter in the back. So, but during that time, I realized I wasn't finished playing, so I went to Canada. So I go to the CFL, I go to sign with Edmonton, and get traded to Toronto. And then I was on that 2007 Eastern Championship. We won the East Division. Excuse me, in 2007. We had a first round bye and got beat at home, and would have housed the Grey Cup in Toronto in 2007. In 2008, I wound up getting cut after the third preseason game, and I just stayed up there, and then went to go work for a private capital shop. I'm a writer, so and the owner of the company, he loved athletes, and he played football in high school, and he would tell me about all his, and he was a kid, he was a guy who he's probably back then he was probably my age now,
Okay.
and he would tell me about how he went to all these different high schools, and he never had an opportunity, and he just loved sports. So he said, look, we take small private companies public in the United States, and you're a writer, you have some media experience, and you went to college for this. Let me show you how to handle communications for all the companies. So I worked for them for about 7 years, and I participated in numerous different businesses, different industries, mining, consumer products. You name it, we did it. And I went on my own in 2015, and I started doing my own thing. And I just went.
Is that like, you were talking about, like taking companies public, like reverse mergers, like
Yes.
that?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
We'll have to
Reverse
talk
merge.
offline, man, because I'm fascinated with that stuff. I want to learn more. So
Yeah. I mean, I have 3 or 4 companies of my own now.
yeah.
One of them which owns the Bandits. And
Okay.
so I've been building these businesses over the last 5, 6, 7 years. Creating the value.
Yeah.
Just
It's
creating
exactly
value.
what I want to do.
Oh well, yeah. Shoot, if
Yeah.
that's
So
what
I
you
just
want
need
to
some help.
do, yeah. No, I totally can help you with that, and I'm fascinated by it. I think that the wealth gap in the United States. It's a really hot topic right now. In my opinion, I feel like the wealth gap is created by the lack of understanding of the stock market, because we have all this inequality that we see right now, but you have the stock market having record highs. So what's the common denominator? Is the common denominator is people aren't participating in the stock market, you
Yeah.
know. So, it's just a
But I
lack
think
of.
too, it's a scary thing for a lot of people, and it's like, how do you go about doing it? And it's not something they really teach like in high school. Like, so you have an
No, they
understanding of it,
don't.
really.
They don't teach you that in high school at all. But it's not. Hell, I'm smart enough to learn it. You know, I've just been doing it for. I've just been involved in it
Yeah.
for a while. But it's not something that can't be learned.
Do you
But it
take
gives.
that competitive side of you from being an athlete into the business side? Does that kind of kick in for you?
Well, I think the patience side of it, seeing an end result, knowing where you want to get, and
Yeah.
working towards getting there, there's just a patience that is required with getting in that type of industry because an entrepreneur is not like a W-2 employee where that W-2 employee he comes in, he
Gets his
punches
check.
he punches that clock. It's
Right.
8 o'clock. All right, it's 4:30 quitting time. I'm stopping. And then at the end of the week or at the end of the 2 week period, they go, all right, well, I worked 80 hours. Okay, well, you make this much an hour and this is how much you get paid. For entrepreneur, it doesn't work like that. A lot of times you're working and you're putting gas in a tank that you might not realize when that benefit is going to come. It could be years from then. And you have to be okay with that because you have to be more focused on the long-term goal, not necessarily the short term. Some people can't can't take that kind of risk, and some people aren't, they're just not necessarily built like that. But
Well,
to be an entrepreneur, you have to.
you think about it though, since the time we're kids, we're trained to, be a worker is basically what we are. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the school, college, it's all about, go to college so you can get a good job. Like, you need these skills to get a job. And I love talking to, colleges and, different groups just about, starting businesses. And, it's one of the things I love is just that taking, an idea and turning it into something. And we'll definitely have to talk offline, or we'll have to change the name of this show because we might bore people. But
Well,
it's my
let me
passion.
tell you, especially right now, I think, with the climate the way that it is now, it's where do you put your focus? Do you focus on things that you see on TV, where you really can't control any of what's going on with it, or are you focused on things that you can control, which is your financial future? You can be in full control of that, and you can be in full control of the outcome. So it's kind of like, where's your mind focus?
Right.
Where's your mind at? You know.
Yeah. Yeah. And get there. No, that's good points. Do you mentor, anyone? Like, have you over the years, or do you speak to groups about, entrepreneurship?
Not as much as I would like. I mean, I've been so busy with my head down sawing wood that I really haven't seen myself in that light to where, but I hope to, over this year and starting to move forward. I think that, with coming into ownership with a professional sports franchise and getting that exposure, I will be able to provide some mentorship to some guys. I mean, I have helped some guys before in the past, and
Yeah.
guys that work with me now. I mean, they're learning this side of the business, not football, but the
Right.
other side of it,
Yeah.
right? But not as much as I would like to. I mean, I have some. I want to put together like a day trading seminar for athletes to teach them, how to learn how to trade stocks, learn how to get up in the morning and read the newspaper and look at how things that are going on in the news are affecting certain markets, and then learning how to invest your money based on things like that. The stuff you see in the old guy doing in the morning.
Right.
You know,
I mean,
it's
that would be such a great thing to even do for the players in the league.
well, that's what I'm in the process of.
You
Once I can get past getting the season launched and whatnot. That's one of the things that we are going to do. I mean, I could give you an example. When I got drafted, I got some money, right? And then I had a financial advisor, and he said, "All right, look, Pat, all this money is going to go over here, and you got some money right here, and you can go do whatever you want with it, right?" So I'm 21 years old. I'm going to go have fun, right? But at the same time, and I'm at home, I'm playing PlayStation. I go to practice, I come home and play PlayStation, and I chase girls. That's all I did, right? And I'm hanging out, going out to clubs and stuff in my time off, and I'm spending money, but it's my money to spend, right? I got this little box of money I can spend, and I'm spending it. But at the same time, Sony stock tripled that year, and so I could have took part of that money, bought some stock in Sony, and still had the same amount of fun. If not, probably spent more money. But
Right.
Athletes, sometimes they live in a bubble, right? They don't read the news. They're not reading the paper. They're not paying any attention to anything like that.
Yeah.
But learning how to trade stocks, it makes you current. You get up every day. Like if you got some stock positions in some companies, you're gonna get up every day and you're gonna be looking at it. And
Right.
while you're looking at that company, you're gonna be looking at stuff and reading stuff on everything else. So it makes you become more active in what's going on and what's happening to you, as opposed to just getting up every day and it happening to you.
And it doesn't take, you don't have to have $1 million to throw into this either to get started, right? I mean,
Yeah.
500,000
look
bucks.
at that guy who is that guy who's got like 20 something $million because he's put $1,000 in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
That dude's loaded now.
Right.
And you're seeing the largest transfer of wealth in humankind going on right now, but we still have all this inequality. I mean, that's a crazy thing. So it's where is your mind at? If your mind is there, you're gonna be able to participate there. If it's not there, then you're gonna miss the boat.
Yeah. So what are the companies that you have now? Like what do you got outside of football?
We have a marijuana. We're involved in marijuana. I have a CBD line, 40, 50 products. We sell some other products. I have another deal that I'm getting ready to announce in another couple of days that is very substantial. It's in the communication space. You're going to love that once it gets announced. Actually have a guy coming over here tonight. We have that. Historically, over the last 5 to 6 years, I've been heavily involved in construction, but haven't been doing a lot of it here as of late.
Residential or commercial?
Residential. It was insurance restoration, residential insurance restorations in Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex.
Okay.
And then outside of that, we have an insurance agency. Our goal is to further expand that to where we can actually write on our own paper. Which is So I'm in that space and in cryptocurrency. We're involved in some crypto. So
but that's public or
the parent companies are, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
No, that's cool. So you got, a little stuff going on.
Well, you have to. So what I've been trying to do is, look at the markets, look at the trends, and try to put myself in a situation where it does well for the stock because I'm the largest shareholder in all of my companies. And if I can take my stock to $4, $5, $10, $15, then you see what I'm saying?
Right.
And
it's a game changer at that point.
What better person to bet on than yourself?
Right.
So when I get up every day, I'm doing things to benefit the stock price of the company that I'm running, and it's mine, right? So I wanted to just put myself in that position. I was fortunately able to do that.
So with your companies and you're getting into football, are there do you have plans to launch other sports franchises as well as part of your company, or is this kind of just, hey, this is my hometown, it's kind of me giving back to the community and kind of doing something I really love?
Well, I think that the equity markets, are a great place to be able to raise capital. So I think that as we proceed and kind of move through this evolution, I think that it will be a very attractive option for other sports franchises just like us to participate. So the answer is, I think that you're probably going to see more of this. You're going to see more. I mean, I don't know how many sports franchises are owned by a publicly traded company, but it can't be very many.
I've seen a
So
few over the years, but nothing.
yeah, yeah. But no, I think the goal would be particularly for franchises, because it's a great way to raise capital.
Yeah.
It's a great way to it's almost the only way that you can.
Well,
You know.
I looked at taking a league that I owned public through a reverse merger, and then we were going to use that to acquire some other companies, and we ended up not doing it. I ended up just selling it off. But no, I think there's so many cool things you could do with it. It's a whole nother thing of just learning, though. When you're new into that, because there's a lot to it. Just
Yeah,
paperwork wise, and just making
but
sure.
it ain't anything that can't be done.
Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly. So no, that's good. So we're getting ready for the season. You're starting to get players. You got things rolling. The website's going to be out soon. Social media is going. Are you out there recruiting the players, or do you have coaching and football guys doing that?
Both.
Okay.
I think for me, this is an education for me too. So I'm very hands-on in the signing process for players. Um, um, I think now, this is like, this is like seriously recruiting guys. Like but yeah, we have some front office guys that are actively participating, but I'm definitely involved in signing our guys now. Yes.
That's good. How is California with COVID right now? Have things gotten any better out there, or?
Um, It depends on who you ask.
Right.
I mean, I went to Starbucks the other day, and I had to order what I wanted online and then go inside to get it. Like, they weren't even taking orders, but they were in there.
Wow.
But we're just preparing to be ready to play April the 5th.
That's all you can do.
And just hope that they can get this vaccine out so people feel comfortable, so that we can get started. But we're preparing as if we're going to be starting then.
What's kind of the biggest, surprise to you kind of getting into this business compared to, prior businesses that you've had?
On the football side of things, sometimes there's no such thing as a secret. And so we've tempered, bringing in people that come from other places, because we want to try to maintain some integrity with what we're doing inside. It's been something I've really been mulling over a lot, because
a lot of chatter,
my goodness gracious,
Coach Foster's excited to have you in the league. So.
Terrence been very helpful, with me. I'm really appreciative of him. He's given me he's probably given me a year's head start. just being able to get on the phone with him and just pick his brain and to have him help. I mean, he's helped me source some of the players.
Yeah.
Which is cool, because that means he's not a selfish person.
Yeah. And that's key. And it's good to see the collaboration, because we all got to help each other now. And I mean, when it comes time to play, talk a little trash or do what you want if you don't want to talk to me that day. But let's work together now so that we all can be successful.
Yeah, and if we do that, then next year when we try to bring in some more franchises, then it won't. It'll just kind of it'll trickle out that way
Yep.
as well.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. It's exciting. So you made it back from the league meetings, which are good. You didn't get much sleep on that trip, but
Oh no, it was good though. I felt so much better about. I was less anxious afterwards, whereas before, I mean, there's just so much stuff that I didn't know. That just that little bit of time that was spent. I mean, I felt so much better after I left.
Well, you kind of have that like, okay, I'm not in this alone.
Right.
I mean,
And you have other franchises that are going through similar things.
yep.
And it's so like I felt so much better. I feel so much better.
So what's the likelihood that we see you out on the field?
I might be out there in the warm up. I might get out there and catch a couple passes in the warm ups or something like that, but I'm not going to be. No, it's over.
I don't know, man. Get out there, that ball's flying around a little bit. You're like, oh man, I can do this still.
That's it. No, I go out there and pull my Achilles.
Oh yeah. Not worth it. Not worth it.
No, I go out there and throw the ball and stuff like that. I know my best days are behind me. You know what I mean? So yeah, but I want to be as involved as I can. I love football. I love being around the guys. I love the camaraderie.
Yep.
And I'm just looking forward to, trying to share that with some youngsters. Really
will you be one of like an owner that like travels with the team to the away games?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I always like the away games even better because you can actually watch the game. You can kind of enjoy it. Like at a home game, you're,
entertaining.
Yeah. Shaking hands, kissing babies, and, just making sure it's good. So the away games are fun. So
yeah. I'm just looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well, man, we're excited. Make sure you send us any updates too, so we can throw up here whenever you. I know you're going to be announcing coach probably pretty soon.
Yes, we are pretty soon.
So when you get to that point too, we'll have coach on the show, and keep doing anything we could do to help promote you out there. Let me know.
I will, and then offline, we'll talk more about that other stuff.
Once we're done here, I want you to wait 1 second for me.
Okay, yeah, well, just hit me back, man. It's all good.
Yeah, no. So thanks again. We'll be back next week. We're gonna have a player or two on. We'll be announcing that later this week. So make sure you check us back out next Tuesday at 7. Thanks again, Pat.
All right, see you later, man.